tells the whole Atlantis story. It just doesn't call it Atlantis. It speaks of a sacred island. It calls it the homeland of the primeval ones. It speaks of a great serpent that comes from the sky and splits the island in two. It speaks of a huge flood that arises and kills off almost all the divine inhabitants, apart from a few survivors, who then travel around the world. One of the places they go to is Egypt, and they make their first business to build primeval mounds in ancient Egypt that will be the places, the locations of all future temples and pyramids. The Edfu texts are very clear. Now, I just need to make this clear, because I relied on Eve Elizabeth Raymond, who was an early translator of the Edfu texts. But recently, the Edfu texts have been completely translated, every single word, into German.
What does it say in German? The Jews did not build the pyramid.
It supports everything in the original translation. There's not a single part of the original translation that's debunked by this. It supports it, and it adds information that wasn't there, because the reference in those Edfu texts to the destruction of the homeland of the primeval ones is 7,000 years ago, but that's in Middle Egyptian, which dates back to 2000 BC. So it goes back to 9000 BC again.
And 9000 BC is 11,000.
Yeah, it brings us to the same date. So I think that Egyptologists have been too hasty to dismiss Plato's story.
Real quick, so we can just understand what was said. The snake that comes down, like you said in the Netflix special, we can look at comets as potentially snakes. They're
cosmic
serpents. So this comet that comes and hits the island of Atlantis, that's like a direct shot.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But so maybe it doesn't hit exactly the island, but it's hitting close enough where the effects of that hit are going to dramatically affect the island.
And remember, they didn't call it Atlantis. They called it the homeland of the primeval.
And what does that mean, the primeval ones?
The ancient ones lived there. That was their homeland.
Whoever created the mounds.
Who then, their survivors, who included 7 sages, traveled around the world seeking to rebuild their lost civilization.
And we've heard this.
And Egypt was one of the places they went to.
Okay, now, some people say the Azores Plateau might be Atlantis. Have you ever been there? And maybe we can describe really quickly where that is.
Well, it's in the Mid-Atlantic, and on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge is interesting because there's a phenomenon called isostasy. Isostasy is the Earth's surface is a little bit fluid. If you put a heavy weight on one bit of it, it's like the end of a seesaw. It's going to force the other bit up. But I'm not. I need to be clear. I'm not looking for Atlantis there or anywhere. I don't think there was one location.